welcome to You Can Do It. I'm Annie and this is Chris. And today we're going to be installing another vapor barrier along with a dehumidifier and a foundation vent.
So stay tuned, so we'll show you how you can do it.
We have put every single item that we used in this vapor barrier and dehumidifier installation down in our description box so that you can go ahead, just click on the links and purchase it yourself. All right, so after all that debris was picked up, the next thing we are doing is we're closing off every one of these foundation vents. If you're gonna go through the process of putting down a vapor barrier, not only on the ground, but also up the walls, and then sealing it with tape, then you're gonna wanna have a dehumidifier in here to get any of that trapped moisture out. And you wanna close these vents. You don't want these vents open to where outside air is now causing additional moisture inside your crawl space. You want it as dry as possible. So we're gonna close these off, and it's real simple. You just take some foam insulation, the hard board, and then of course a knife, and cut every one of those custom to size so that they perfectly fit in there. And then you use that zip tape, again, that stretchy tape, and then roller that on so that it is nice and secure to the foundation. We're leaving one foundation vent open because we will be installing also an exhaust fan, because there is the instant on-demand hot water heater underneath this house, and it is run on gas. So we want to additionally install an exhaust fan on one of these foundation vents, just in case any gas is trapped in here. We want to make sure that's out of the house and not left underneath the house.
Before you lay the plastic on the wall and install it, you're going to want to go through and fill any gaps with foam. Any of the real hard ones that have, they're kind of just variations, we're going to use this big gap filler foam. You just stick it in there and pull the trigger, and it just starts unleashing a lot of foam. So we'll go ahead and do that now.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start applying the vapor barrier to the foundation walls. And we're just leaving this moisture barrier down here just so we don't become a muddy mess while we're installing that. And we'll just kind of take this off as we go. So the tools you're going to need, obviously, is your vapor barrier. The client decided to go with a 10 mil vapor barrier. This one's clear. You will need this nice handy dandy roller. It is a zip tape roller or zip system roller, and we are using the stretchable zip tape on the exterior walls. This stuff is excellent for masonry, cement, wood, PVC, metal. It stretches over everything. So and it is moisture resistant. A brush to get some of that dirt off of any surfaces that you see, and of course our scissors. So we'll go ahead and get started on these foundation walls. This job is much easier with two people, so that one person is holding that vapor barrier while the other person is going around behind them and taping it. The corners also at the bottom need to be cut so that that vapor barrier easily bends around all the corners. And then when you lay the vapor barrier on the ground, you'll overlap anywhere between 6 to 8 inches, and then tape up any seams that are left open so there is no chance for moisture to come up from the ground and penetrate into that crawl space.
We finished all the walls on the plastic, so we're going to be laying the plastic on the ground now. We're going to pull up all the black existing barrier that was in here. It's real thin. There's a lot of pieces that are cut, and so we're going to roll all that up. We don't want to lay this new plastic over that plastic. We want to get that out, and then we're going to go ahead and start laying out all the ground plastic. So stay with us.
This step may or may not be something that you even need to do. If you don't have plastic underneath your crawl space, then this is of course eliminated. But we're going along and we're picking up everything that is sharp that potentially could puncture through the barrier And anything like cardboard, definitely get that out of there because that is definitely going to be food for termites. So once we cut the large roll that we had there, we're unfolding it all the way along the farthest side. We're working from the back out. And that's a good suggestion to do just so you're not trampling over new clean vapor barrier as you're working that area. So start in the back and then move towards wherever the exit door is. Once we do place that around, we've cut the corners again, we're overlapping 6 to 8 inches. Chris then takes stakes. Those stakes are meant to be pounded into the ground on the corners and the edges so that it helps to keep that barrier in place. I go back along and I cover it with that blue Summit tape just so that not only protects those stakes in the ground, but it also helps to keep them in place. So once that is completed, we then go along all the edges and we tape over with that blue Summit tape, taping every one of those seams. Anywhere where there's gaps, we're taping that up. We don't want any moisture from the ground to penetrate up. And it is a good idea once you do start this process to figure out what is the best layout for that barrier so that you have as little seams as possible. I ordered really large vapor barrier so that I only have 2 seams, one going down the center of the entire crawl space and one right on the edge. So you're going to want to do that just so it aesthetically looks nice and there's least amount of areas for moisture to come up. So again, just work around, tape everything that you see there. I'm taping up even the stakes along the way just to cover everything and make a very clean installation.
All right, here's the completed vapor barrier. We're just gonna scan around here, goes way back. Of course, all the walls have been covered all the way up to about 6 inches from the top. And the next step is to install the foundation exhaust fan and the dehumidifier. We are adding also a foundation exhaust vent airflow out underneath this home. You might ask, why are you doing that if you've got a dehumidifier under here? And it's for a couple reasons. One, because of radon gases that could potentially build up underneath this home. Another is because we've got not 1, but 2 units underneath here, the furnace and a hot water heater that both produce natural gas, or they give off the natural gas. And if there were to be a chance of a gas leak, we'd rather make sure that it's going outside this home and not being built up underneath this home. And another reason why is because every single one of these foundation vents, minus this one, have been closed off so that we can keep that relative humidity down. So that's the purpose for installing an additional fan underneath a crawl space. So we'll go ahead and get to it and show you how you can do it. So I went ahead and opened this box up so that you can see what is inside it. This is the Durablow model M2D-S430. It's the 220 CFM model. That's the larger model with the 2 fans here. This model will do a much larger crawl space. So the 220 CFM is how many cubic feet per minute will this cycle the air from underneath your crawl space exiting out through that foundation vent. So this is a pretty powerful unit, and yet it only runs on 0.6 amps. So it is high efficiency. It also has its own built-in humidistat, ranging from, of course, just the low 10% all the way up to 80. But because we have a dehumidifier that we're installing in here and we're setting it at 45, we're also going to set this humidistat at 45 as well, so that they're not competing against each other. So what comes with this unit is these rubberized strips that we will attach all the way around this stainless steel flange right here. This is rust resistant. The purpose of this is not only for a sealant between this unit and the masonry brick, but it also helps to deaden the sound so that it stays nice and quiet. And then lastly, what also comes with it are the anchor bolts and the screws themselves. You will need a 5/16 inch masonry drill bit in order to drill these into your foundation wall. And of course, you're going to need a hammer to hammer those in. And you will also want to have a small level to be able to make sure that this is aesthetically pleasing and nice and level inside that vent. So without any further delay, we're going to go ahead and install this into the foundation vent and get this thing up and operational. All right, so let's go ahead and just see what comes with this dehumidifier. This is one of many dehumidifiers that we have installed in clients' homes. They're quiet, they work excellent, they do the job, they get rid of the humidity inside that crawl space in no time at all, and we have one of these underneath our home. So we wouldn't install these in other clients' homes if we didn't think these were well-built machines. Plus, on top of that, they do have a 5-year limited warranty on them. So if you have any issues, you just call the company and they will deal with you directly on trying to get any replacement parts. I will tell you, we've had ours underneath our home for about 4 years, haven't had a single issue. So obviously in the box, you're going to have that manual that comes with it. But if you're watching this, it's probably because you'd rather see someone do it than read it yourself. So that's what we're here for. So here's the manual. This I like so much about the Alorair is that they box these so well so that you don't have to worry about damaged items coming to your house. They've got these nice corners both on the top and the bottom. They also have this really thick foam that is secured around that unit. And then this had the wrapping, those really heavy wrapping straps on them. Not only was it easier to carry, but it's because this box, they make it really nice and convenient for whomever is opening these. This lid slides right off so that you can also see the unit without having to destroy the box to get to it. So reinforced corners around the unit. And then we've got the hose. From what I understand, this hose is approximately 20 feet. It's like 19.5 feet. And that is for the condensate line for the water that is leaving the unit. And then this here is the flange if you want to duct this. Now, some people will actually use these dehumidifiers in these crawl spaces, and they will duct it right into another room to kind of condition the room and help dry it out. We've never done that. You don't have to do that. We actually just keep it free flowing underneath the crawl space so that the moist air that's in that crawl space goes through this unit, dries out, and then just dries the crawl space itself. So we've never needed this. It's there if you want it. And then of course you can duct it into, you just kind of just plumb it right into your HVAC ducting to go into whatever room you want. But again, like I said, we don't do that. And then it comes with this really nice heavy duty cord. The cord's probably about 8 or 9 feet long. Someone had asked on another one of the installs we did, is it okay to plug these into an extension cord? My advice for that is absolutely not. Because if you're plugging that into an extension cord, that means that you are so far away from wherever that electrical source is that you're most likely going to have a voltage drop, which means this unit's not going to perform the way it's designed to perform. You might end up having this unit work extra hard because of that voltage drop. And so I just don't recommend it. This cord needs to be plugged directly into a receptacle that is receiving power. So extension cord, I would not recommend. So I'll go ahead and pull out this unit from this base here, and we'll go over what the functions are. I'll bring the camera in a little bit closer so that you can see all the functions of this unit and what it's designed to do for your crawl space basement. Okay, so I zoomed in on the side of the unit here, and this is the stamp plate for the Alorair. It does show you that the model is the Sentinel HDi90. The I stands for the built-in condensate pump that does help pump that additional water outside of your crawl space or basement. And the 90 stands for the PPD, which is pints per day that this dehumidifier will pump from inside your crawl space to the exterior of your home. That 90 rating right here, if you look down at capacity, is basically saying it will do that if the relative humidity is about 60%. Then the next thing to look at is the power supply. The power supply is your standard 110, which means that you only really need about a 15 amp circuit in order to run this unit. But because this is Energy Star rated, which is excellent, this unit shows that it's rated out at about 5.5 amps. So that is a very high efficient dehumidifier that you have here. Then the last thing to look at on this would just be the serial number if that is ever needed for warranty information, and then the date in which that this unit was manufactured. So we'll go ahead and flip this unit around so that you can see the control screen on the front. I wanted to zoom out to show you the top of this machine here. It has 2 handles, nice and sturdy carrying, because this machine does weigh about 75 pounds. So now we'll go ahead and zoom in to the panel board itself. That's your simple power button. You're going to go ahead and press that on. This will illuminate to let you know that it is on. Give it a minute or two to adjust to whatever the relative humidity is on the room before you start adjusting these arrows. This machine has a relative humidity setting between 36% and 90%. I will let you know that mold does start to grow at approximately 55% relative humidity. So I always set these at 45%. So give it a minute, and then you're probably going to end up having to push this down arrow to get it to that 45%. The nice thing about this machine is once it is set, it's a set and forget. It will turn on and turn off depending on what the relative humidity is of that crawl space. So you really don't have to worry about it. This button right here says central control. That is not something that's operational with the HDi90, so not something to worry about. If for whatever reason you want to store this unit, you're not using it, I don't see why you wouldn't be using it, but if you're not, there is this button here that you push to drain the entire unit, so it will take out any water that is in this unit and drain it out. This lights up, that's the compressor to let you know when that water compressor is working in this unit to help pump that additional water out of the unit. And then this continuous defrost right there, this unit has an automatic defroster on it. So if it does get too cold in here, that defroster will turn on to then let you know that it is in the defrost mode. So we'll go ahead and turn this to the next side so you can see what is on the opposite side of this unit. Okay, a few last things to go over on this side. I went ahead and attached that flange just so you could see if you were to duct this into a conditioned space in your home, that's where the flange would be attached because that is where the dry air is exiting out of this unit. And then you would attach your HVAC 5-inch ducting and then bring it right up into your current HVAC ducting in your home. But again, because we are just going to let that dry air recirculate inside this crawl space, that's not necessary. And then down here, we've got some terminals here, also for an condensate pump, but with this unit, we don't need it because it's included. But there is a little, looks like an Ethernet port, and that would be for a remote control, which is an accessory that you can purchase for this unit if you want to go ahead and see what this unit is doing from the comfort of your home upstairs instead of coming down here. You can go ahead and purchase that remote control. So we'll go to the final side of this unit and show you the last two things. All right, so we're at the back side, and this is the last two things on this unit. Right here is your outlet for your water. So that is where the water that has been separated out from the air is going to exit via that clear tubing that came with the unit. And then here is a removable, washable filter. I would recommend just vacuuming this out, but you can rinse this off if you want. Just make sure that it's dried before you reinsert that and power this unit back up. You are going to want to do maintenance on this probably every 6 months. Just make sure that that filter is nice and clean, just so this unit functions the way that they have built this unit to function. So without any further delay, we'll go ahead and install it and get this unit up and running. Okay, Chris built this really nice cage system for the dehumidifier. It's really honestly not necessary. It could have been directly on the floor with these feet, or he could have placed it on masonry bricks, but he likes them suspended from the air so that there is a lot of airflow going around them. There's not a chance of maybe water getting in this crawl space and doing some damage to this unit. So he likes them off the ground. He likes the electrical off the ground. And so he built this with just a couple strips of unistrut, some all thread, suspended it down. And now what he's doing is he's actually taking out one of these feet on either side. He already did this one, but he's taking one off over there. And then he is bringing a washer through this unistrut and then rebolting that foot so that when it's done, this is secured to this unit. It's not going to vibrate off. So this is a really secured system once it's done. Again, you can just throw these on a couple pieces of cinder block, but in the end, this is a much better way to suspend this product here, and it looks better for the homeowner. They're more secure that this is not going to flood out or get a short because of a water issue on the ground. So here Chris went ahead and penetrated through the foundation wall, and he put in that shark bite 1/2 inch water pipe and suspended it. And we're going to go ahead and just pretty much use that as a chase for the clear tubing that comes with this unit. We're going to go ahead and install that clear tubing to the unit, give it a drop, kind of like a glorified P-trap, and then push that through that shark bite tubing, and eventually it's going to terminate on the outside of this foundation wall. Chris is sliding the tubing that came with the unit all the way through, and of course we'll just cut off that excess. And then he's going to make that P-trap, like I mentioned before, that is not only going to be an inspection spot for him because the tubing is clear, but it also does not allow negative airflow back into the unit. And then we're going to tape it right where that clear tubing meets that solid white shark bite tubing so that the tube doesn't move on us during operation. Nice. Okay, the next step is to go ahead and plug this in, get this set, watch this drip and fill up, and then we'll be finished with the dehumidifier. Chris just plugged in the unit and it's already reading that it is 53% relative humidity in here, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this unit on. Power light. Right now the compressor is working and I'm going to bring this unit down to 45. All right, so the job is complete. Another vapor barrier installed, foundation vents closed off, foundation exhaust fan installed, and the Alorair HDi90 Dehumidifier installed. So I would say this is a pretty awesome finished.
Yeah. I hope this project helped you out so that you can do it yourself. Thank you for watching You Can Do It, and stay tuned for the next video.